Why not give yourselves the experience, the opportunity to explore your existence differently? Yeah. You're sitting in your existence. Your terms of reference are that you are a middle-class, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant living in a small city in northern, let's pick a place, Maine. How's that? In the United States. And you find yourselves caught up with fear and caught up with worry. And you are stressed because you have a wife and you have 9 children, and they all have to be fed and they all have to be taken care of. And there you are, you're a male, and you've got a very poor job, and it's only paying you $5.35 an hour, and you have 3 jobs that you're holding down in order to make the family survive because your circumstances of existence is such that the cost of living is too high, your house prices are too high, your food prices are too high, you have no medical insurance, no possible way, and you have 2 or 3 children that are sick, and you have a wife that's nagging at you, and you have children that are pulling away at you, and you have your boss that's giving you heck every day because you're not doing a good job, and you say to yourself, I've had it. So what do? You get a heart attack and get the heck out. Good. So then you try it again. But what if, under all those circumstances, you simply said, hey, let's choose differently. I don't need to be here. I don't need to choose this kind of existence. I can choose something different. Let's explore differently. Instead of being a $5.35 an hour, let's change that choice. Let's make that choice into where I now have an education and I can get myself a $100,000 a year job. So you change. Now, all of you will argue yourselves into no change. You'll say, that's an impossibility. You must go to school. You must have credentials. You must do this. You must do that. And bravo for you. Keep arguing yourselves, and we assure you, you won't change. But we assure you, you can change simply by choosing differently. So this is what incarnation does. Is it affords you an opportunity for change without having to choose to change. Interesting, isn't it? When all you had to do was to choose differently. We've suggested that your physical bodies were designed to last much longer than your 60, 70, 80 years on average that you're using them for. Why were they designed that way? Because, dear friends, when you created this illusion, you said, hey, there's a physical body. It's made to last. Now, it's not like your businesses today. It's not built-in with built-in obsolescence. Though, we assure you, right now, you're choosing built-in obsolescence in your existence. Your bodies are becoming obsolete because they're aging quickly. That's built-in obsolescence. But again, it's only a perception, isn't it? So why not choose differently? Why not choose to explore your existence without having to choose to incarnate all the time? Oh, incarnation is fun. You get to try it all over again. But you see, there's one little catch to incarnation. Something you hadn't thought of when you originally planned this whole concept of incarnation. That when you come back and do it again, your ego personality gets recreated. Soul essence remembers. Ego doesn't, does it? No. So ego has to start all over again. It has to learn to walk. It has to learn to eat. It has to learn to talk. And most of all, it has to learn to function in an illusion called society that allows it to function. And then it has to get past that point of aging, that darn aging stuff. That's something difficult for an ego personality to handle. Do you see? So, in truth, then, you've missed the boat. Because this reincarnation bit is really affecting your memory, isn't it? Difficult, isn't it? It really is stopping you from remembering who the heck you were the last time. Remembering all the good stuff that you did, all the things you accomplished, all the things you found out about existence. And now you got to try it all over again and start all over again. And then, let's face it, in some existences you start all over again, and then in short order you get back to, understanding and knowing and appreciating who you are. But most times you forget about that. You get so caught up with your daily activity that it isn't until you're on your deathbed you say to yourself, oh, geez, I should have remembered that. By then, of course, you made the choice. Your body's shutting down and it's saying, hey, I'm out of here. So do you see, dear friends, reincarnation is really, from your perspective as egos, it's a tough sell, isn't it? But soul essence says, how else am I going to get back there and try it out? So I create a new part, a new perspective. If you observe carefully the concept of parts within the self, the psychology of parts within the self, you'll recognize that you create a new part every time there is a new choice. Sound familiar? That soul essence chooses to experience the experience of existence differently and creates a new extension of itself, a new ego personality. But you see, this conceptualization of parts, of ego personalities, of incarnations, is really only necessary because as ego personalities, you want to define yourselves separate. You need to define yourself separate. You desire to define yourself separate. You need, desire, and want because you perceive this as being your empowerment, your survivability. It's a perception, but you perceive it that way. So you say, in order to survive, I must be separate. In order to be separate, I cannot be like everything else. So therefore, I must be a separate ego personality. And you pride yourselves on the fact that, hey, I've got this puzzle solved. I know what soul essence is doing. Good for you. The thing is, though, soul essence isn't playing your game. You're playing your game. You are the ones conceptualizing. You are the ones limiting your conceptualizations. You are the ones creating the necessary illusion of separation in order to define yourselves and ensure your own survivability. Not soul essence. Which is why soul essence, when it attempts to infuse you with awareness, simply gently guides you. Doesn't beat you over the head with it. Because let's face it, you're pretty stubborn egos, aren't you? If soul essence were to beat you over the head with the concept that, hey, you're a oneness, not a separation, the first thing you'd do is say, yeah, prove it. And so then you go about ensuring that soul essence could not prove it. Do you see? So really, dear friends, your choices of existence, your perceptions of egos, are self-definitions that, in truth, remove you from the awareness of what incarnation is really all about. Now, the nice thing about incarnation is that there is a part of you as ego personality that has a little bit of memory. It's called that subconscious part of your mind. You see? Now, that subconscious part of the mind is the bridge. The bridge between yourself and all of those other parts of soul essence called other lives, other extensions, other existences. Why was the bridge created? Why is it necessary to have a subconscious part of the mind? Because, dear friends, soul essence, in moving within itself, isn't interested in starting up again and again and again in a new way. It wants to maintain a certain level of continuity, and it hopes that you, the part, will have that continuity. Of course, you're a little stubborn, as we said, so you choose not to most of the time. Some of you begin to listen to your subconsciouses. Some of you begin to open to the awareness of existence. Some of you begin to open to yourselves to the awareness of your oneness. But most simply are quite content to live in the illusion. But every now and again there's a nagging little thought that comes through. And that thought is, in effect, a communication from soul essence to yourselves. Basically saying, pay attention and listen, please.